Hi guys, my name is Courtney. I write under the pen names Lyra Parish and I'm one half of the USA Today best-selling duo Kennedy Fox. Today we're going to discuss my 10th and 11th month of being a full-time self-published author. If you're new here, I quit my corporate job that I had for a decade, effective as of March 1st, 2020. We're coming up on my year anniversary of quitting my job. I'm completely blown away, and so anyway, I just wanted to give you a rundown of how December and January went. I hope y'all have been well. I am feeling fantastic, like $1 million. You don't even know. I feel like a human again, and that makes me very happy. But enough chit chat. I know this video is going to be somewhat long, so let's go ahead and get started with it. Okay, so December, we released The Best of Us. I was so relieved that that book released because we were behind on deadline, because during the holidays, Amazon brings things up by 2 weeks, but we still were able to upload and release, and everything went great. A lot of people reached out to us and said they really loved the book. It was one of the hottest books that Kennedy Fox has ever written. I swear that book has more you-know-what scenes than any other book we've ever written. It was fun to write, and it's a part of an interconnected series, but you can read it on its own. You don't have to read the first book. So the book released on Tuesday, and then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I went to an online conference, Romance Author Mastermind, or RAM. It's a conference that I have been to for the last 3 years, and I found it to be very beneficial. I got to sit at home in my pajamas and drink coffee and just try to absorb as much information as I possibly could. There were a lot of high-level talks that I felt really resonated with me. Some of them were foreign translations, which I've been talking about a lot on my channel, and then moving from 6 figures to 7 figures, which is another thing that I've been talking about on my channel for a little while as well. They were just very detailed, and I actually enjoyed the fact that it was recorded and it was online, because I feel like when I go to conferences, I am just in the zone, and when I go back to my room, although I'm an extrovert and I will talk to anybody at any point, hug people, I don't even know their name, I feel like my brain is buzzing. It doesn't matter. At signings, at conferences, I just feel like once I'm around people or like absorbing information all day, my brain feels like mush. It's typically a weekend-long conference, so by the end of 3 days, I am just mentally exhausted. And so I appreciated the fact that if I wanted to sleep in, I wasn't going to get the FOMO. I could rewatch the videos. There was something that I didn't quite understand. I could stop and go back, re-listen to it, make sure I processed it correctly, and then continue forward. And so I really enjoyed that part of it. While I do miss sitting at the bar and having drinks with people and seeing people that have watched my YouTube channel or people that I have known forever and ever that I've never met before, that happened last year, I did like that format. I know that there are some other people on YouTube or authortube that attended RAM, felt the same way. So I don't know if it's going to happen next year. You do have to be a published author to be accepted, but I'm crossing my fingers that Sky and Becca make this happen. I'm putting it into the universe, because every single year that I've gone, which I've gone since the very beginning, this was year 3, I have learned something. I've been to conferences where I'm like, this was not for me. This was way below my level. Like, I could probably teach every single one of these talks. I could do a full-blown 1-hour thing on it. And so some of the conferences that I've been to over the last few years were not beneficial for me in the level that I'm at. RAM always goes to the next level, and I know that it was somewhat expensive, but I never walk away and feel like I wasted my money like I have at some other things that I've attended. Essentially, I've learned my lessons on which conferences to go to and which ones to not attend. But that being said, RAM was amazing. It was very good, and if they continue to do it and you write romance, I would highly recommend that you try to get in on that, because it was chef's kiss. The third big thing that happened, this is all the first week of December, we decided to end our contract with our PR company. It was a business decision. It was just the right move for us. Sometimes when you work with people, you reevaluate it. You take your emotions and your personal self out of it, and you ask yourself, is this working for my business? And if it's not, then you part ways. So that happened, which meant that we needed to get a lot of stuff together, because then we had to reform our blogger teams archives, and we had to update our website, and we had to do a lot of stuff because we would now be taking that back over. It's not that big of a deal because when we first started writing as Kennedy Fox, me and Brooke did everything. We made all of our own forms, we sent people to our website, like it was all in-house. And so when any blogger had an issue or any of that, they dealt with one of us. Now we have an assistant, so we kind of have people feeding through her, which makes it a lot easier, so then our email's not full with it. But I think it's going to be a much better situation, and we'll be able to not necessarily micromanage what's going on, but be more in the know of where things are. Our goal is always to find new readers. Our goal is to move to the next level in 2021, and it was just the best decision. Now, will I say that publicists are good for some authors who need that extra help, who don't have two other people on top of themselves helping them? Absolutely. PR companies are great for that. They can help you with your events. They can help you with your releases. They can help you find new readers. They can do a lot for you. But at some point, you might outgrow the services that they offer. And if that happens, you have to be able to make the right decision for your business, and you have to be able to end that contract. Now, Brooke's not confrontational. I am very confrontational. So y'all know that I am the person who fires people with Kennedy Fox. I've fired every single person we've gotten rid of because the corporate world has pretty much given me a black soul. I still have that black soul when it comes to business stuff. I don't take any BS when it comes to business. But like I said, no regrets. Of course, there's things that I miss about it, and you know, that relationship that we had is no longer there, but it's business, baby, and you learn to move on. We spoke to our accountant at the end of December, who told us that we needed to prepare to make a pretty large tax payment at the end of December, which did happen. And I basically explained to him what our financial goals were for 2021 and how we were trying to reach that 7-figure mark. He was very happy to hear that. Totally on board with our plans and helping us get in the right direction as far as taxes and how much we need to be saving and how much we need to be paying and all of that. Our accountant is very good. He's local to me, so I can easily just drive down to his office, not with COVID, but I can just literally give him a call and go drop things off at the office or whatever. And so it's been very helpful to have someone who's local to me so I can take care of business much quicker. Our entire backlist was purchased for gamification for an app. I don't remember what the app is called at this very moment, but they bought all of our books and we had to pull a lot of information. They needed all the Word documents. They needed the title, the publication date, the word count, the blurb, teasers, personally written notes for the people who were paying for each chapter to read. And so there was a lot of stuff that we needed to get done to do that because they were paying us a very nice advance to get the rights to those books to put on their app. And so in the middle of December, we worked really hard on getting that together and submitting it to our agent. We had another company reach out to us for gamification, and so we sold 2 books for that and signed a contract in December, or maybe it was January, I believe, for that. We haven't actually jumped into gamification yet, so I'm excited to see how it does. We also spoke to our agent about self-publishing our books in foreign languages, so we got approval to get specific books translated. There have been several people who have seen my videos where I talk about translations, and they have reached out to me and asked me if we're going to get our books translated into like several different languages. And the thing is right now we are only focusing on German, French, and Italian. If we decide to do more languages, we have to let our agent know. It's not as easy as just someone emailing and saying, hey, just wanted to know if you were going to get your books translated in Portuguese, because I do that. Like, we don't have the ability to just say, yes, we want to get them translated into that language. There has to be a discussion about it, and then, you know, we have to wait. And so right now we've got certain series working in German and Italian, and we will be moving into French probably in 2022. So that's the main languages that we are worrying about at this moment. We could eventually move to different languages, but I don't see that happening until 2023, 2024, until we get our backlist completely done in these languages. And at this point, we have 30 books released as Kennedy Fox, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to get all this done. And we're publishing 8 more books this year, so by the end of 2020, we'll have 38 books. and our translators are only able to do about a book every 6 to 8 weeks. So it's going to take probably a few years for us to get everything done. Another big win for me in December was I practiced dictation. This is something that I talked about in me and Brooke Passmore's live stream. I think I got through about 90% of that book being dictated, and it was just a really smooth process. Yes, I'm going to make a video on that, but with the dictation, it was just mind-blowing how slow I could talk and actually get the words on the page. Of course, I'm going to make a video and tell you some tips and tricks that I learned. I am in no means a professional dictator at this point. I've only done about 25,000 words dictated. I have learned some things at the beginning, and I plan on updating y'all throughout the year with more things that I learned about dictation, because this is something that a lot of people are very interested in. But yes, there is a video coming soon. I'm really going to try to get it recorded for February, because I know I talked about it on the live stream with Brooke, and people have messaged me and told me that they actually downloaded the app and have been using it and have found it super helpful. So dictation, man, life-changing. When it comes to reading, I didn't read any books in December because there just wasn't any time to do that. So December was kind of like a wash on my personal stuff, but I got a lot of stuff done for Kennedy Fox, and we were just really busy. We also plotted a book, Pushing You Away, which releases in February, which is 2 weeks from now, in December, and we started writing that book as well. Now, let's go on to month 11, which is January. So in January, I finished writing Pushing You Away, which was nice. I'm very happy that I did, because not too long after I finished writing my last chapter, I got really sick, guys. I'm talking like, I thought it was a sinus infection for 7 days, and then the fever hit, and it was just basically a fever dream for another 7 days. At the end of my sickness, when I wasn't really feeling well, I forced myself to edit because I did not want to be behind this month. And so I worked sick, which, I mean, what can you do? That's what happens when you're not ahead on your books. If you get COVID or some other sickness, like, you just gotta work through it. For that 7 days that I was really ill, where I was running fever, there was just no way that anything was happening. I literally felt like my eyes were gonna fall out of the socket. Like, they were so painful. I can't even describe exactly how it felt, but it just, my eyes hurt really bad. And so that put me very behind. Yesterday was January 31st. We got self-edited through chapter 17, and our self-edits, guys, take us a really long time because it's me and Brooke just going back and forth, rewording sentences, deleting sentences, adding more detail, whatever the case is. And it takes us a really long time to do that. And so I've basically been editing all throughout January with that break inside of it. And we're almost done. We've got chapters 18 through 22. Our editor has already started working on the first half of it. So then once we get through the last 4 chapters, she can work on the second half, and then we can send it in for round 2 edits before publishing. I learned in January that I have to be kinder to myself, and that I cannot beat myself up when it comes to me being sick. I don't have any patience, and I'm one of those people that's like, go, go, go. I gotta do this stuff. I gotta get this stuff done. Like, I need to do this right now. And being sick like that really taught me that sometimes you just can't. And it doesn't matter if you want to. It doesn't matter if you try to. My body was not having it. It was extremely frustrating for me because I don't want to be behind. I don't want to be sick. I basically didn't get to see my dad for 3 weeks. Didn't get to see my mom for a little while. And just, it was a wake-up call for me that I personally cannot keep going forward with just running myself into the dirt to the very max. And I just feel like December was so stressful, and it was so busy, and I was doing all these different things. I also canceled from GoDaddy and migrated our site to another hosting because our website kept crashing, and it was just a lot of stuff that had to be done right now. And so I feel like my body didn't get to recoup, and it really didn't rest, and my immune system was down, and then I got sick, and then it was like, hey, you gotta rest, and you're gonna have to. It doesn't matter if you don't want to. And so it was a wake-up call that I've got to be kinder to myself. I've got to get the proper amount of rest. I don't need to stay up till 7 a.m. editing. It'll be there tomorrow. If it's time to go to bed, I have to learn to unplug. And that's very hard for me. I'm one of those people that gets into hyper focus. If it's something that I'm really passionate about, I will just zoom in on this task and I will do it for hours upon hours upon hours. I will forget to eat. I will forget to drink water. I will just forget to do everything. Nothing in my life at that point when I hyper focus matters. I've got to stop doing that because it's not healthy. I don't want to stroke out like my dad did. I don't want to feel stressed to the point where I feel like an elephant is just sitting on my chest. And I've felt like that a lot lately and it's not healthy for me. So I've got to like start meditating or go back to exercising or just taking a day off every once in a while because it's just a lot. That goes back to my 2021 resolutions, me being kinder to myself, getting rid of those toxic behaviors and mentalities. And that is one of them. And I think hustle culture that we've been so accustomed to is actually really dangerous and it makes it okay to not be nice to yourself because you're hustling and you're trying to grow that business. You're a girl boss. Like, no, I'm done with that. Be nice to yourself because when I was losing it, when my dad first had his stroke, one of the doctors that saw me when I was at my limit, she said, you have to be your best self for yourself because if you're not, you can't be your best self for anybody else. And I know that that's cliche, but it's like, if I'm not kind to myself and I'm not taking care of myself, then I can't take care of the other things that need to be done. January was a reminder of that. I fell off of the face of the earth on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and my 10K group and YouTube. And there's nothing I can do about it. What's done is done. I wasn't here. I was recovering and I hate it. It bothers me to this point that I was very consistent. I had a plan and it just went down the toilet, but that's life, right? January made me realize that I have to get on a real schedule and I have to be realistic with my time. I can't say, hey, I'm going to edit 5 chapters today when I know really that on average, I can maybe edit 2 chapters in a day if I'm pushing really hard. I'm not going to set these outrageous goals that I know that I'm not going to be able to make because they set me up for failure. And I deserve better than that. So in February, I'm going to do better with that. We also paid the IRS. We paid them 4 checks. That was nice. You know, you got to take care of business. That's just a part of being the CEO of your own business, is paying taxes. As far as Lyra Parish, I did nothing. I barely kept afloat with Kennedy Fox. I read 7 books in January. I know. Well, I didn't actually read 7 books. Most of that was audiobooks because I went on a 7-hour drive one way and then a 7-hour drive back, and so I had 14 hours to kill, and so I listened to audiobooks on the way there and on the way back. And my goal for 2021 was 25, and so now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm almost halfway to my goal for the year. December was a great month. It was busy, it was stressful, but that's life. It's usually like that during the holidays. Me and Brooke know that. We should plan for that. But somehow we forgot that Amazon changes their dates and that just completely threw us off. January was okay. Still got a lot accomplished. On track to release that book in 2 weeks. Survived COVID, so hey, that's a big plus. Basically learned some life lessons about you just can't sometimes. Yeah, that was my 2 months. I hope y'all are enjoying these videos. Talk about my 1 year next month, and that's crazy to me. That's insane. But yeah, that's all I got. I hope y'all have an amazing, incredible week. You accomplish all your goals and you write all the words, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye guys.